Hi guys, and welcome to the Sim Shack. This is the Sim Shack podcast number 2, numero dos. And of course, I have with me the sultry and sexy Wolsey. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad you're sounding a little bit better. I understand you've not been so well.
There's big cold and flus in here in the great Canadian places. I was sick for a little while and I could barely. I was sleeping a lot for sure.
Well, you're back to your beautiful sounding best, which I'm glad to hear. So today's podcast is going to be around I don't know if it's shock news or whether it was expected to happen, but Ubisoft have just cancelled 6 of their upcoming titles and closed some of their studios, as I understand it, for good. And as a result of those maneuvers, they've lost over 30% of their stock price. So the question today is, does this signify the beginning of the end for AAA gaming? Well, AAA games have absolutely dominated the market for decades now. But at the same time, they have been under constant scrutiny for their copy and paste yearly releases, their pay-to-win stuff, and their loot box mechanics. It seems like, or it's felt like, for me especially, for the last 10, 20 years, everything these big companies have been doing has been geared towards making them trying to squeeze as much money out of the gamer as humanly possible. And a lot less emphasis is about making the game the best game it can be. So what I want to know, or what I want to talk about, is, do you think that AAA companies have brought this on themselves? Do you think they deserve it for not been listening to gamers?
Yes, like the clear answer, and I'm gonna elaborate on that because just yes would be a little bit a short podcast. But really, and the fact is, you put the key words. They're not listening to gamer, or they're always going to be listening to gamer that has a really high profile. For example, we're talking about cloud, we're talking about XQC, and they're talking just a really minor minority who actually of people that's going to receive money because they're going to play the game. However, at the end of the day, we are more as the crowd of gamers. Like we are streamer or we're YouTubers, you and me. I'm a small one, you're a big one, but there's other people out there, which is actually has a voice, and I think those are even more important because even if somebody say who's got paid and say this game is terrific, it's the best game ever, and so on, at the end of the day, the little guy is going to play and say, "Well, that sucks. I don't want to play it." And the thing is, we're kind of actually into a dimension where I want to talk about the Nike version of gaming. What I mean by that is we're having high gamer who actually has millions of subs and everything that's going to play games, so other people's going to rush and try to buy it to the store. So therefore, I feel those AAA company are not really putting the quality of the game into their structure or their program or their gaming that they're trying to create, right?
Right.
There is difference that are happening. There is some of those games that actually has been built and also had better mechanics that they were already talking 10 years ago. So all the new and developed things, especially at the time of AI right now, where they can go ahead and say, do a report, tell me how many people, or do a quest or whatever, uh, they have that data on hand. What gives? That's where the point I want to actually bring. They're not putting the effort correctly, but they're big, but they have their vision and they're not listening to the customer, which is actually us.
Do you think perhaps because we haven't been listened to for so long that people have now got to the point where they're like, well, what is the point in voicing my opinion? You're not listening. So maybe they're not getting that feedback. They probably want the feedback in a specific location. They want you to go to this website and put your thoughts in here, leave your email address or whatever. But people have, we're sick and tired of complaining and not being listened to. So we're just not giving the feedback anymore. Do you think that's the
We're
thing?
we're we're dumping into the email never read. like send your email, but is it really read? We don't have any proof. But what they forgot to think about is there's a lot of indie gamers. You and me tomorrow morning, we can actually go ahead and go into a journey of saying, I love any kind of game. Let's say, for example, we have ordered the game that actually has been removed, which is actually Prince of Persia. And
Mm.
maybe you and me are saying, well, Prince of Persia is cool. Let's go in Reddit, Twitter, or X now, Facebook, and everything. Listen to what the people are saying. Let's go ahead and try to program what they're trying to combine together and do it. So now we have the opportunity of people who actually can get with Unity and create the game that people want. So in some kind of way, they forgot about the small people and didn't realize that, you know what, some people has the walls as ears because people are complaining, and if the email doesn't get to Ubisoft, it goes to other indie devs or going, well, that's a good idea, maybe I'll do a game for that. So now instead of
That's a
having one
great point.
game and have one loyalty of a gamer, they have multiple games. That's going to be kind of, mapping around to what people are trying to get.
I think you're probably onto something there, and if you're not, then there's probably a gap in the market to do literally that. Go round and just pick up the loose ends of all these games, like just to pick one at random. FIFA for the last 10 years, if not more, people have been complaining that the career mode is just half-assed and poorly put together, and they've put zero effort into that because that doesn't make money. What makes money is their FUT football thing. So all the evolution and effort goes into that, and yeah, it probably makes them an absolute ton. But if someone rocks up, in fact, I think FIFA have pulled the naming again, suggesting that AAA gaming might be on its way out. They've taken the name of FIFA away from EA Sports, hence why their football game is now called the football game or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So FIFA are now producing their own game, and I believe they're releasing it via Netflix, which is, I mean,
Because yeah, there's frustration happening because as you're saying, FIFA, they had a lot of targets, information about all of this, and they never listen. The important part, what they forget about, is to listen. Compile everything that everybody's actually saying, bring it back at the head of the train, saying, hey, did you know there's this amount of people complaining about this? Where are we on that? Can we address this? Before we go any further, this is like 90% of what the people are saying.
now, I mean, okay, maybe I can argue the fact that as a reviewer, that is my job, is to go out and
Yeah.
get these games, review them, and say, look, they're still not listening. But other people do as well, and it's a year-on-year release. It's a copy-paste release. It's exactly the same game with a few tiny little tweaks, and they're charging you 60, 70, 80, 90 for it. Why are people falling for this over and over and over again?
Question of popularity. It's the
It's branding. It's
it is.
You
It
want to have all the
is.
new names and all the new kits. Is it as simple as
And
that?
it's back as what I was saying. Streamer, like as we're saying, Cloud, we had Ninja, we had like all those people that were playing the game, like and they
Promoting it.
were like getting paid for playing the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, my favorite YouTuber has this, therefore I need it. Right?
Yeah.
Uh it's creating a need. Um but I don't know how last that rubber band's gonna go ahead and get pulled because
Do you
slowly
think
but
players have had
surely,
enough? Do you think this copy paste
I
release thing
think so.
is running out?
Clearly, because even in the comments of certain of those streamers, because I don't know if you've been through one of those, I sometimes go ahead and peek, just listen to see. But there's people saying, "Hey, for example, we're going to talk about arc raiders.
Yeah.
Lately, there's been a lot of hackers and everything, and Cloud was playing, and a lot of people were saying, "Well, Cloud did say on live stream, I might actually stop playing it because we did actually warn them about the hackers and everything, and nothing has been done."
So do you remember a game called PUBG? It was quite popular a little while back.
Yeah, I have it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I always felt like I was getting shot by people, and I shouldn't have been killed, or it should have been closer. And I've got a graphic which, if I could find it, I'll put it up and show everybody. Back when I was making videos on PUBG, which is a few years ago now, I was saying there are loads of just cheats everywhere, and people say no, there's not. Anyway, PUBG released this information sheet detailing how many hackers they had banned from their game, and it was somewhere in the region of 45,000 people in a single year, and that was I think it was maybe just 6 months into the year. So you can maybe say 100,000 people are cheating on that game. It's crazy. I'm not a cheater myself. I've never been a cheater. I don't like cheats. I don't like cheating. I won't allow myself to cheat. If I play a game, you've probably witnessed yourself, I always put it on the hardest difficulty and try and play it like that. And it infuriates me. You know, people are paying good money and then getting cheated.
Did you ever play World of Warcraft?
No, but I have friends who are very into it.
It was moderators. So that means the game Blizzard said you are now one of the moderators. So you do have access to go ahead and witness something bad and go ahead and kick them. So it's kind of a police kind of work. So
Yeah.
there was people who actually was kind of moderator at some point. But this actually was never actually brought to other games because in that case for Battlefield and so on, it's 100 players into a match. There's definitely a person that can be kind of in a god mode and going around and say, well, this guy's shooting everybody from any distance. There's something wrong. Why don't they go ahead and get them, zoom them, and this is actually also making content. Um, but I feel this is one of the aspects because also often, unfortunately, we're back to the fact that there is really good players that are making like a career out of it. So of
Mm.
course they have to be really, really good players. However, at one point, this is trying to beat him. So Cheater actually brought to cheating to those games because they want to be the one that's going to be better than the better one, right? But there is a need of making kind of a police work of knowing, well, there is a person that's going to be there to go ahead and apply laws or whatsoever. That would be something that we don't have anymore today.
Like, I have exactly the same philosophy for members of parliament. If you find a member of parliament is doing illegal things, you kick them out of parliament and you ban them for life. That's what should happen to content creators, I think. If they're telling you
Yeah,
lies about a product or cheating or anything like that, ban
yeah,
them for
yeah, yeah,
life.
definitely.
That's it. Get rid of these people. We don't need them. We don't want them. Um, you mentioned earlier that indie games are sort of picking up on the fact that there are areas that people want that are not being included in these AAA games, and then they're making these alternative indie games. So I'm wondering now, is that because for 10, 20 years people are so sick and tired of AAA games taking the mickey, or do you think it's AI has supercharged indie development? You know, sort of making a one-man band far more productive. And do you think that AI can benefit, say, a small indie company more than it can benefit a AAA company?
It's not really a one man band, right? AI is just there to satisfy what you're trying to do. For example, if I go ahead and say, I want to make the best pancake in the world, he's going to go and give me a pancake recipe and like say, well, this is the best one I could actually accomplish for you. But this is actually generated from information. I think the AI is not going to be creating the game because you still have the person that's going to have to go ahead and program everything and so on. He will help you for certain codes and so on. However, the AI tool is going to be really helpful for you to go and get really deep research to know, well,
Mm,
what are people actually are screaming about? What do we need to go ahead and bring
yeah.
into that gameplay, and what needs to be done? This is where the tool is actually really efficient for that. We're talking about indie who actually is coming and jumping, and that is actually also showing that those information is really easy to reach, and it's really easy for you to go ahead and gather the resource and information for that kind of problem you're having, or every time that you're starting a game before you actually go ahead and put it out, be sure that you address those points because the indie small dev is going to be able to do it. Is it me or they don't put that into their checklist into the AAA? And meaning, why would they just assume that they're always right, especially into that day of age,
Well,
right?
maybe that's it. Maybe they're driven by the numbers, not the numbers of people who are happy, but the numbers in the bank.
Exactly.
So rather than maybe that's the difference between AAA and indie developers is indie developers normally the lead developer has a passion for the subject in which they're making the game, and
Hmm.
therefore they want to make it as good as possible. They've had a dream. There is no game like this. I'm going to make it myself, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So AAA companies lose out in that regard because they're being driven by money and arguably a bit of greed, which means they become blinded by the quality. Like if someone said to you, "What's the best FIFA in the last 10 years?" Arguably, I would say it was like number 17 or number 18. But realistically, you could also say there's hardly any difference between any of them. They're all kind of the same. They all have the same problems. They just haven't listened and don't care to fix it because there's no money in it. So maybe that's where
It would.
indie developers have the edge is they actually do care about the game.
That's the thing, the care. And the thing is, in reality, are they also fed up with people trying to tell them what to do? Maybe they also got upset about it.
Yeah.
Having a lot of people talking about how trash your game is and so on, maybe is also something where they're going to be a little bit more upset and not accepting that information. Say, well, you know what, we're going to close it. They're not happy, let's close it, right? The kind of tantrum situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you don't want to play my game, well, screw you, I'm going to close it. What if they actually go ahead and say, well, you know what, it's kind of, let's put it to $20. They're focusing on trying to sell one item so expensive when they can actually sell 10 times the same game, which is actually a digital product for $20, and they would make way more money than just one unit at
Well,
$75, right?
actually, what they do, I've seen quite often now, is within the first year of releasing the game, they will drop it occasionally down to about 20 quid. More often than not, it's like half price, but every now and then it does go down to about 20, 25 quid. And the reason for that is they make so much more money off people buying these blind card things where they pay
Mhm.
for players that they don't know which players they're going to get. It's basically gambling. They make so much more money out of that. They could actually give away FIFA for free and still make a huge profit. I think that's the reality of it.
There is also the fact, I think they also try, and I want to bring to another part about the pricing and what seemed to be changing. The other thing is they're making a lot of price that are really expensive, but also at the same time they're going to be available for free if somebody buys the pass of, let's say, Xbox Live. You do know that if you buy the Xbox Live subscription for $20 on our in Canadian money, you have access to all those games all the time.
Yeah.
Then people's going to say, "Well, why do you have access?" Because there's a lot of games that I don't want to play in there. Why would I pay a membership for all those games when there's a lot of games that I don't want to play? There's a couple of games I don't want to play, but I'd rather have it for me because the day where I can't pay for the $20 a month, at least I can still play the game,
Yeah.
right? Because if one day everything is going down the shit and you going down the drain, um, and you don't have the money, you're stuck where you can't play the game that's your favorite. So all your games are actually going to be stuck in the cloud and holding until you have money to buy again, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a
I,
big fan of that.
I genuinely hate monthly subscription of anything. Um, it's a whole nother podcast, perhaps. Netflix
Yeah.
monthly subscription, and then they started putting adverts in it, and you can get rid of the adverts if you pay us even more money. I am absolutely outraged by that. If it was medieval times, someone's head would have been cut off. That's how angry I am.
Two times. They're going
I
to
think
revive
it's
him, come back.
disgraceful. I think it's disgraceful
Yeah.
behavior. Um,
But yeah, so, but yeah, it could definitely be. And I think that putting a price all the way to 70 for the game, as you're saying, that everybody's saying, well, it's a copy paste. So, and the thing is, you won't know until you play the game. So, you only have, like,
yeah,
let's say you're buying on Steam, you only have 2 hours to get it
which is
refund.
not enough time for some games. Definitely not.
No, no. Before it was like 2 days. You can go ahead and hit your head and everything. But I understand there's scammers out there and they're going to play the game, finish the game, and say, "Oh, here we go. I'm going to get a refund," or they just want to buy the game to play with his friend one weekend and then refund it. Um, However, 2 hours is definitely not enough.
Who do you think is going to win out? Are the AAA companies too big, too rich to fail? Or are the indie companies going to come in and undermine them? Are they going to be able to deliver games? Because people get really excited about AAA games. And I mean, I can understand why. You've got all the audio, you've got all the licensing, you've got the characters that look realistic, you've got really top grade graphics. Sometimes you've even got really good gameplay. It's very rare, I think, that you get all five of those these days because it's so much copy and paste going on. But do you think this is where AAA are going to have to pick up their socks and start bringing out new games? Or is indie development going to dominate and sort of take it away from them?
We are unfortunately in a bad world, and I'm sorry to say that. But at the same thing that we actually hear about all those indies, devs, and everything that are coming up, beneath all this, there's a lot of scammers. So therefore, a lot of people get burned from bad games. For example, I'm more of an RPG player. The Chronicle of Illyria was actually one of the games that was supposed to come out. Millions and millions has been sent into them. Like, and there was promises, there was actually videos and everything. And at the end of the day, um, the studio closed in 2020. A lot of people were waiting for it. They actually did, and this is where everybody's getting bitten, right? I'm waiting for a lot of games that I'm like, this was the most marvelous ideas and everything, and that needs to be also addressed. There's a lot of games that are never going to be coming out into indie game because people are having high hopes. But the smaller company, for example, I played Dishwasher Simulator.
Yeah.
The guy was actually saying, I just had an idea of a game. I loved it, got it out there, and it's fun. See, I'm waiting for an update. So therefore, I wish there was something else about this Dishwasher Simulator because when you finish it, you finish it. You don't want to play it again. I don't have the will of going over again because all the surprises are gone, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there is indie games that are coming that are really fun. But for example, I'm going to talk about Mind Magol. This is an indie game. It's a
Yeah.
small little studio. There are actually two or three. It's fun. I loved it. I'm done. There's there's nothing I can do afterwards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There,
It doesn't have the
the
depth.
game actually
Yeah.
it doesn't have the depth because right now they actually work really hard and they did a terrific job. By the way, congratulations! It was a really cool game. But at the end of when I'm done with all my machinery, I'm just sitting and waiting to see my money pile up
Yeah.
to buy a trophy of $1 million. But there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
If there was a place where I can go upstairs, hire somebody, and or buy a house, buy a car, go around and so
Go
on,
to a
that would be
new
cool.
planet.
Go to a new planet, go even in the core where there's lava underneath. But it's a question of this is an indie game. Can't go really in depth because they don't have the tools or the hours or the knowledge. Maybe I don't know.
See, one would hope though that an indie dev team would, by releasing a game and being successful, earn a bit of cash and then reinvest that in themselves, and perhaps now
hire somebody.
perhaps one of the problems with AAA games, I just thought of this as you were speaking then, is the fact that instead of trying to come up with new games and new ideas and okay, let's try and do that same thing but different. Let's try and make it better than last time. There's none of that. It's just copy and paste, the same iteration but version whatever. Ubisoft, back in the day, were one of the best sim companies in the world. They brought out some Silent Hunter. Was it Silent Hunter? I think it was Silent Hunter submarine game, and they were absolutely phenomenal. But each one built upon the previous one, added more features, became more realistic, arguably introduced more bugs. But I mean, we are talking sort of 20, 30 years ago. But they've now shied away from doing anything like that in favor of the copy and paste routine, which I think people are getting sick of. I really do.
Yeah. Because as you can see, like like the sixth game that kind of got removed was actually Prince of Persia, which is actually the one, the Sand of the Time remake. That's been canceled. It's not
Yeah.
coming back. So if you guys are hoping for it's not going
And
to happen,
is that the second
but
or
then you
third
had like
iteration? I can't remember. Is that the second or third iteration of that game?
this third.
It is the third.
And that was supposed to be the big one. And the thing is, before they closed it, there was so much, and I mean so much promises, right? So my the question is it really worth to close it? Why not being honest and say, well, you know what? We tried to do this, this is not working, and so on. Um, this was something that actually was, and also after years of delay and trying to move the studio from India to Montreal and everything, there was so much problem. And why don't they came? They just didn't really give us the update or give us the info. Having a vlog would be also something really important because people won't understand. Oh, why is the game not coming out? Well, because they're actually making the move from this and this and there, right?
Uh,
So,
so
but then
I'm
again,
gonna
don't
I'm gonna
give all
push
the
back on your
secrets.
vlog suggestion pure for one thing in particular. Microsoft Flight Simulator came out and they did a monthly vlog, and it was supposed to be to keep people up to date so that people knew what was going on and knew what was coming. But in actual fact, it didn't really do anything other than frustrate people
Really?
because again, they weren't doing the things that people wanted. They were doing the things that they wanted. Now, in defense of Microsoft and rather than being on the steel like EA, they're actually trying to make the best game they can. It's just I think they've got their prioritization back to front. They're doing things that benefit the smallest amount of people rather than benefiting the most amount of people. And they should
Yeah, I suppose.
prioritize, fixing things that will benefit the most amount of people first. But their podcast, because of that lack of foresight, is just a frustration exercise because once again, they're talking about something that isn't really going to benefit anyone other than person A who's doing this one thing. So, I mean,
Yeah,
yes, it's a good idea, but if it's not done right, it could definitely backfire on you.
but that's what I'm saying. This is the perfect tool. Get one guy on the same freaking chair saying we're going to do a vlog. This is where actually I'm allowed to talk and everything, and make those little peek. Oh, we're actually looking and we saw. Then read the comments. Put a portion of we're telling you this, and oh, I read the comments, and we're gonna go and see, and this is what's going to be addressed. And then you know what? For me, they would be huge right now if they did that. They go ahead and do a vlog and explain everything, and then they go ahead and say, "Hey, boss, somebody said this, this. Can we change that?" Okay, fine. And then they go ahead and say how they changed it and how it's going to be corrected.
But right, final question. Um,
Yes, sir.
I think I'm going to answer my own question and then I'll ask you. But I think if AAA games pivot and stop producing copy paste games year on year at ridiculously high prices, then instead focus like they used to back in the day, back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, actually start bringing out new and interesting games. Not something that's AAA. Doesn't always have to be AAA. Could just be a like a little indie game style thing built by a AAA company. That should be very easy for them. And if it's popular and it really takes off, that's a new avenue for them to explore into and make better and improve like they used to do it. Each version should be considerably bigger and better than the first, that sort of thing. But the question is, do we want or need AAA companies in the future? Do you think it's better to have them or better to get rid of them?
I think it's good to have them, to be honest. Um, at the end of the day, you have to understand that this is still, how can I say, it's still a big company that you can trust. Indie games right now, unfortunately, there's a lot of hit and miss kind of situation, right? So
Mm.
this is actually one thing that I think they should have those AAA company making, as you're saying, smaller, really enjoyable game, right? On the first podcast, we talked about like King Quest. Why not bring it back? Why not bring it back where you can be in multiplayer, where you just type what you can do, and that could be really, really funny. and that would not cost them a fortune to do, right? They could have a division like all those 6 that was actually close. Let's go ahead and make a division saying we're going to put 6 games that's going to go into that area, close their system to be sure they're not like the franchise not be able to go ahead and copy everything. But this is a great opportunity to allow them to do so, right? But I think that we still need them because it is actually I'm gonna say something stable, something we can trust in as well. I want to go back to trusting them, which is actually going to be really important.
I think
really.
that's a great statement. Go back to trusting them, because obviously that over the years they have developed some incredible technology, and they are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So there are some positives to AAA companies certainly, but I think you're right. Go back to trusting them, because I can't think of many AAA companies that I trust now. There's some middle-sized companies that I have respect for, like the Euro Truck Company guys, the SES. And I'm a big fan of the Fernbus developers as well, whose name escapes me. But yeah, I think trusting them is absolutely key. And I think trust has been eroded over time. We the people have the power. We must stop this rubbish.
Right.
The only way to stop them is to stop buying it. That's the reality, isn't it? And if they
at some point, yeah,
because
we did send the email and we did go ahead. There's so many people on every platform, X, Reddit, Facebook, and even on their Steam or whatever, that do complain. They go ahead and say it. It's there. The detail is there, clear as bright as day. It's just going to deaf ears.
If everybody stopped buying FIFA for the next 5 years, I guarantee you
they would shut it down.
I don't know whether they might cut off their nose to spite their face and go, well, if you're not going to buy our games, we're not going to make any more games. They might take that approach, in which case, good riddance to bad rubbish, I suppose. But I would hope that would inspire them to go, right, we really need to think about making this game better. We really need to consider what everyone's been asking for and see if we can do it, instead of just doing what we want all the time.
Yeah.
But how do you make rich, successful people listen to you? It's not easy.
Not easy at all.
They like the power, they like the money.
Possible. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Well, unless you have any other further questions, I think we can.
I'm good. Thank you so much again for allowing me to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Couldn't do it without you. And anyone watching at home, thank you so much. Please do hit the like button. Go see Wolsey's channel. There'll be a link in the description below. Please do chat to him, watch his videos, give him some feedback. We're always open to feedback, are we not, Wolsey?
Definitely are.
Anything that we can do to make this podcast or just our channels or anything in general better for you guys, please let us know. Until next time, be good.
Nostalgia hits hard as we dive into today. In the Sim Shack, we'll talk about it all. From gaming's rich past to the future's core. Simulators, well, graphics.
I'm gonna sneeze.
Okay. Yeah, sneeze away. Here's a recovering flu addict. So give him a bit of a break there.
We need to cut that in production.
Yeah, absolutely. But it might end up in the boo-boos at the end.
Oh man, I was finding it too. Okay.
Hardware and controllers, we dig deep inside, unraveling stories where memories reside. From the joy of a console to SimCade.
Do you need to drink water before I move?
Yeah.
Favorite game, tell us what makes it shine. First game you ever played, let those memories align.
That's why you're drinking sugar. Always drink water after you cough.
Well, as I mentioned to you, I had a very late night, so this is my if you'd like to sponsor
Energy. And today's sponsor is
keeping me going throughout the podcast.
no.
Bear.
We still have possibilities for sponsoration.
And we like all kinds of drinks.
Yeah, we drink a lot. Like a lot. We can eat too, you know.
Gaming today, tomorrow with joy we are fed. Past meets the future.
Keep gaming.
Absolutely keep gaming. And stop buying those AAA games, guys. Just put it on the ignore list and see what happens. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. Till then, take care.
From
Bye.
gaming's rich past to the future's core simulators world, graphics so bright. Join us each week under neon lights. We'll chat with the best creators of art. Yeah, in the world of gaming, we each play a part. So tune in with us as we explore and ignite the passion for gaming where futures are bright. From Sim UK's wisdom to Aussie sweet tone, in the Sim Shack podcast you'll never be alone. Let's journey together through pixels and dreams. In the world of gaming, it's more than it seems.